All right. Let's see. I'm gonna try to. Hi, Jose. So I don't have text to speech turned on right now because I thought I would record a story time. I haven't done a story time in a while. And I have this story time all written up. I had it written up for weeks. I just haven't recorded it yet. So I thought, well, maybe I'll record a story time. So Demon King has told me that he will not be able to join the live tonight. So I thought this would be a good idea, a good opportunity to do the story time. And then after I finish with the story time, I can turn on the text to speech, and we can go world exploring or something else afterwards. Okay. Um, so this should be a pretty interesting story time. Let's see. Well, we don't have a lot of activity out there because it's already 11:30 for me, so it's kind of late. But I mean that's fine. I'm just gonna do my story time script, and thanks for sharing. Um, yeah, it's 2:30. Yeah, it's probably late for a lot of people. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to do the story time. Now, this story time is about my time as an elected official. I was a Parks and Rec commissioner. Not that long ago, I had served as a Parks and Recreation commissioner here in Washington State. How did I end up there? Well, this is what this story's about. Back when there was a lot of excitement about Bernie Sanders running for president, there was a lot of talk and encouragement regarding running for office. The idea was if you want to make change, local government is where it's at and where to start. I had not run for any office before that, except for Democratic Precinct Committee officer, but I am not going to talk about PCOs because there's really not much to say about them. If you want to know more about PCOs, just ask me. The first thing I did was search online for what positions were open for election in my area. There were school board positions, water and sewer positions, public electric utility positions, and there were some parks and rec positions for the park district I happened to be in. I love parks, so I registered as a candidate for one of these park commissioner positions. It didn't cost me anything to do this because elected positions that do not have any salary or any other type of compensation cost nothing for candidate registration. I'll repeat that part. Costs nothing for candidate registration. Other positions, such as county level positions or state level positions that do have compensation, can cost thousands of dollars to register for candidacy. After registering as a candidate, I was notified that I could fill out a statement that would be included in the voters pamphlet. Now, here in Washington State, we get voters pamphlets for every election, and the candidates can put statements in there and why you should elect them and whatnot. However, I did not submit one before the deadline, so I was one of those candidates that did not have an entry in the pamphlet. And I know I should have submitted something, but I was running unopposed. It's not like people were clamoring to get these park commissioner positions. Anyway, the election came and went, and I won the election. Surprise, surprise. It was funny because people who knew me, who voted on the ballot, recognized my name and thought it was so awesome that they could vote for someone they actually knew. This park district only had one park, and it has baseball fields and soccer fields, as well as a playground and a brick building with restrooms. Of course, I wasn't sure what I was getting into at the time, so I wanted to attend a couple of commissioner meetings before the next year when my term would start. So I called the number for the park district, and a woman answered. I asked her when the next meeting was. She told me when and where the next meeting would be, but she sounded a bit wary of me because they don't get a lot of people from the general public attending the meetings. The public is welcome to attend the meetings. It is just that the public tends to not participate in the park meetings. She wanted my name and contact information, and I gave it to her, and she wrote it down. And that was the end of the phone call. Okay, I'm going to scroll down my notes here. Okay. But about 10 minutes after I had called, she called me back, and she was excited. Oh, I am sorry I didn't recognize your name. You are one of our new commissioners. And then she proceeded to introduce herself as the one and only staff person of the park district, and she added my email address to the distribution list so that I would receive the agenda, the minutes, and the financial report before the next meeting. During that last meeting of the year, I met the previous commissioners, a couple of whom were involved with youth baseball and soccer organizations that used the fields. The meeting of the next year, then there was the meeting the next year when I was officially the commissioner. It was then I and other new commissioners were sworn in, and we were appointed the various officer positions. I took the job that no one else wanted, and that job was treasurer. But I was glad that I took that job because I learned so much about how local governments operate. I met with the previous treasurer to get familiar with the financial reporting, in the Excel spreadsheet, which I would later customize further with some helpful scripts to make managing it easier. I also learned about financial reporting that needed to be done for the state. I would file the annual reports to the state every year for the 3 of the 4-year term that I was treasurer. Later in my term, I was glad that one of the other commissioners stepped up to take over the treasurer's job because I was moving out of the district and could not run for re-election. What was particularly interesting about this position was that it was a working commissioner district. What I mean by that is that we did not just vote on policy and whatnots, we also did some of the physical work. Now, we did pay a security firm to lock up the park at night and paid for custodial services, mowing the field, maintenance, etc. But there were some things that we as commissioners did as well. Here are some of the things that I did. Scroll down a little bit more. Okay, that's let's see, what was I? Here are some of the things as well. Okay. Here's some of the things I did. Okay. The park also had a house on the property. It historically was the groundskeeper house, but at some point it was turned into a rental. So the park district was also essentially a landlord. Of course, we had a property management company for the rental, but for some simple things like fixing a leaking toilet tank, I would go over there and fix it. For bigger things, we would hire professionals, like getting the garage door opener fixed. When the other thing that I did was fix the USA flag that was on the park. It had become too worn, and the flag mounting hardware was actually broken. Someone had tried to be helpful and zip tied the flag to the halyard, and the halyard is what you call the rope that holds up the flag. So I went to the hardware store and got new hardware, a new rope for the halyard. I also ordered a new flag online from the same company that makes the USA flags for some of the big national cemeteries and monuments. With the help of my son, I installed a new halyard, hardware, and flag onto the pole. The park would reimburse me for the flag and the parts. And then there was, okay, yeah. And then there was one thing I had to do I will never forget. I got a call from our staff person regarding an emergency at the park. See, every year, this park would shut down the restrooms for the winter and would reopen them in the spring for the sporting events. But this particular year, the restrooms were opened, but the person opening the restroom forgot to turn on the water. The janitorial service reported the mess to us and said they couldn't clean anything without water. I went right over there with the service closet keys to turn on the water. There was so much. Okay, I'm going to start over. I went right over there with the service closet keys. One more time. I went right over there with the service closet keys to turn on the water. And there was so much shite and unflushed toilets, and the place stunk to high heaven. Oh God, first thing I did was open the service closet and turned on the water. I flushed all the urinals and went to every stall in the men's and women's restroom to unclog and flush the toilets. There was one stall in the women's side that had shite freaking everywhere. I was like, okay, that's my limit. I am going to let janitorial services take care of that one. After that, I was like, please, let's not have that happen again. All right. What do you guys think of that? So I will clip that and edit it and turn that into video. I'll share at least on TikTok. I'll probably post it on YouTube as well. And let me, I'll turn on the text to speech now. So let me do that. Or try to do that. Might have to resort to using my mouse. The controls are not very friendly on the desktop. Okay, so here's Tickfinity. And it tries to take over the screen, so I have to minimize it. And then for YouTube and Twitch folks, I have to pop out. This I'll have to use the mouse. I'll have to pop out speed chat. Okay, so there's speed chat. And then I want a little music. I can pop out Streamlabs music.
Welcome to Progressive Geeks House Angle Garcia.
Yeah. I think that's just so crazy. Royalty-free music for your streams. Royalty-free music. And a lot of times when I create clips for TikTok, they say, oh, what the heck did I do? Did I mess up? Desktop. Click yes button to keep streaming.